Vancouver has some of the best cycling in the world, but is it safe to ride your bike in the city? We asked people at UBC about their thoughts around cycling in Vancouver.
And when you're out riding, do you find that there are things that scare you or hazards that come out on the road?
I think the biggest hazard is vehicles not necessarily seeing you, and so the onus is more on the cyclist to be watching for cars turning.
Also, a huge demotivator is the possible dangers, because I've heard oftenly that drivers are like, I hate bikers, and like they often don't respect the bike lanes. So there's also an aspect of danger to it.
For sure.
Yeah, for me, well, it depends more like on the situation and on the weather, because I really enjoy biking, but if sometimes it's raining a lot or I don't feel like biking, then I would rather walk or take the bus.
We also spoke with Dr. Kay Teschke, a professor of occupational and environmental health who focuses on cycling in cities and road safety.
The main hazard that people worry about is having a crash with a motor vehicle. And certainly if you're in a crash with a motor vehicle, that's usually the most serious kind of crash with the highest potential for severe injury. The same is for walking. There's been a lot of research looking at whether or not the injury risks are a greater risk than the health benefits, and virtually every study that's looked at it have found that the health benefits far, far outweigh any injury risks. There are some very specific things that motivate people. People like to be on routes that are separate from traffic. They like to be away from traffic noise and air pollution, and they like to have beautiful scenery. All of those things are motivators for cycling. Physically separated bike lanes with some kind of physical barrier between the people cycling and the motor vehicles are fantastic. They're very safe and people love to ride on them, so those are a great choice. Other kinds of great choices are bike paths through parks and so on that are completely away from traffic, and also residential streets where the traffic has been reduced in some way. So those are all those three are great choices for safety. Two things that people can do themselves in their riding style that make it safer is to ride more slowly. Typical speed is around 15 kilometers an hour, and that's a nice sort of steady speed that will keep you safer. The other wonderful thing you can do is you can use running lights on your bikes. Just like you have running lights in cars in Canada that are required, running lights front and back will keep your chances of being hit by another vehicle, including cars, bikes, or pedestrians, are much lower, about 50% lower. So it's a great way to reduce your risk of being in a collision.
And in terms of buying a bike or when choosing a bike, is an upright bike preferable than other styles of cycles themselves?
Well, there isn't direct evidence that that's the case. There's some kind of circumstantial evidence. So that kind of upright bike, city-style bike, is the most common bike used in the safest countries in the world, Denmark and Holland. And also, we know from quite a bit of research that's been done now that bike share riding is safer than riding your own personal bikes. And bike share typically has big upright bikes with fewer gears, so they typically go more slowly, you're more upright, and they also typically have running lights.
We also asked UBC students about ways to encourage more people to start cycling in the city.
I would just say, in general, it's a good step towards a healthy lifestyle. And it's just, overall, I find I feel better at the end of the day.
I don't know, you get to exercise, so you feel more relaxed when you get to school, and it's a faster mode of transport a lot of the time.
Totally fair.
Because often people just get in the car, get home, go to sleep, but bicycling is basically a good way of transportation and of exercise, so it's like a 2-in-1.
If you're thinking about cycling, now is the time. We've heard that people cycle for lots of reasons. For exercise, because it's convenient, or just to relax, enjoy, and have fun.
Overall, cycling is not risky. In fact, it's overall healthy.
So if you need to commute to UBC, or just to run an errand, maybe you can ride your bike there. Give it a try. You just might love it. for a safer ride. There are things you can do before your ride and things to do on your bike. Check the ABCs of your bike. Check that there's air in your tires and pump them up if you're low. Check your brakes. Spin your tires and see if pulling the brake will stop the wheel. Check the chain. Give yourself a smooth ride by putting lubricant on the chain and gears to make sure that you will be seen and heard on the road. You can do this with equipment on your bike, like having running lights, reflectors, and bells. Also, picking bright and colorful clothes will help you be visible. So when you're out on the road, there are a couple more things that you have to know. The route that you choose has the strongest effect to make a safer ride. Use a bike map to choose the route with the most separated bike lanes. Riding slower and in an upright riding position has also been shown to make your cycling trip safer. If you do end up on a street with cars, don't worry, because you can make yourself safer by choosing to ride a meter into the road. This will keep you out of range of the door zone, which is when cars might open their doors unexpectedly in your way. It also makes you visible. Biking in Vancouver is safe and fun, so we'll see you out there.